they're like, yeah, we don't think you could handle the bookkeeping for our companies and have 3 young children. So you're done. Max out all the credit cards, refinance the mortgage a couple times, whatever it took to make us work, whatever it took. I believe God is real. I said, okay. He said, but I don't ever think he ever intended any of his children to live this way. And he's like, if we were actually being taught what we were truly meant to be taught in the church, maybe this would have never happened. $0.5 million in net worth. I'm not saying my way's for everyone, but my way fucking works. It started changing to be like, instead of sitting here waiting for life to happen for me and waiting for money to drop in my lap, it's, I need to take action. I need to step forward. I need to figure out what's going wrong.
Welcome to the Westeros Media Podcast, Lessons from the Ashes. We are here to tell the Phoenix Rising stories, coming up from the ashes to build businesses, to build personal brands, to parent, coming out, all of it. The stories of those who came from nothing and did great things. We all have a Phoenix Rising story, and I can't wait to hear yours. Join me every week for new podcast episodes. And of course, make sure you follow the show so that you never miss an episode. See you soon.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Westeros Media Podcast, Lessons from the Ashes. I am so excited for our guest today, the most amazing money guru you've ever met in your entire life, Lou Clarke, who has not only changed loads of people's lives, but mine in particular. And she is revolutionizing how people look at their money and how to help them keep more of it and feel better about it. So, Lou, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so excited. I got on the podcast. I'm so excited. Okay, hi. Sorry.
Hi. Okay, so Lou, we always start the podcast with a lesson or a rising from the ashes story because we've all been there numerous times and I know some of yours and I am very excited to hear you tell it. So would you please grace the people with your rising from the ashes story?
Well, let me first say thank you so much for having me on. I know we've been talking about doing this for a couple months, so I'm glad everything worked out for us to do this go around. I have to go back and relive. Okay, so let's start with, I was born in, no, I'm only kidding. We're not going that far back. Let's go back to 2005. I think that's a good number. That's 18 years ago. Oh my God. 2005 is 25 years old. And I had 2 sons, ages 3 and what did I have? 2000. So a 3 and a 1-year-old is what we had. And job was great. I had a bookkeeping firm. My husband worked at home with me, and we ran this cute little, quaint little bookkeeping firm, making, $3,000-$4,000 a month back in 2005. Trust me, it was not that much money, especially when you have 2 little ones. And I ended up having a client who asked me to come work for them, not full-time, but be more present. I think omnipresent, if I must. We need you when we need you. You need to be there kind of vibes. I was like, sure. And so they said, we'll pay you $900 a week. So $1,800 biweekly. So do the math. That's $3,600 a month. And in my head, I was like, oh my God, we just doubled our income. This is insane, right? So exciting. The one thing was, though, not that I live in a huge city. I do not live in the city of Toronto or anything like that, but a large enough city that when I had to drive to their office, it was a good 45-minute commute both ways. And when you are charging per hour, the last thing you want to do is spend an hour and a half a day in a car. And so we ended up, and we also needed a bigger house because I found out I was pregnant with baby number 3. So we decided to buy in our dream neighborhood. And that dream neighborhood was literally I could walk 10-minute walk to the office if I wasn't going to walk, but just kind of give you how close it was. It was 3-minute drive maybe. And all was good. We had a bigger house. We had a bigger mortgage. Like we just went bigger. We doubled our income. Let's go bigger. We need the space. We have a third baby on the way. So we moved into that house in June of 2006. And in July of 2006, this client called me into their office and they said, we want to discuss the accounts payable. So in bookkeeping, accounts payable is who you owe money to. And I was like, okay. So I went over with my like file folders and my briefcase, and I walked in, and I should tell you, a couple of weeks before I told them I was pregnant with baby number 3. Oh, congratulations. That's great. So they called me in for the accounts payable conversation, and I sat down with my payable file, and they go, well, wait a second. And I was like, okay. They're like, we've decided to let you go. I said, excuse me, what now? You decided what? They're like, yeah, we don't think you could handle the bookkeeping for our companies and have 3 young children. So you're done. And I said, what? Like, I'm so confused, so confused. And I thought maybe, okay, give me 30 days, 60 days. No. They made me leave all the documents there. And then they had their son come to my house and pick up everything else the next day. That was something. Let's just say that was something. And so all of a sudden we have a bigger mortgage, bigger property tax, bigger utilities, because we went from a really tiny, like 1,500 square foot home into like a 3,000 square foot home. And yeah, that's where my $3 from bankruptcy story started. And so at that point, it was like, max out all the credit cards, refinance the mortgage a couple times, whatever it took to make us work, whatever it took, because we had bills to pay like everyone else. And it got to a point where I remember calling up my clients and saying, hey, I know your invoice isn't due till next week, but can I get a check tomorrow? I need to buy groceries. Like it was that bad. And so thankfully, we could pay to keep the roof over our heads. But that was like it. Like our cars, we didn't owe anything on the cars because like they were old. They were just old cars. There was no owing, but we were able to keep the roof over our heads with the money that came in from our company. But everything else just kept going on credit, groceries on credit, like everything on credit. And so one day we were on our way. You know what? I always muddle over this part every time I tell this story because I have a fear of hurting someone's feelings or a fear of being judged. And I think, Steph, honestly, your podcast is the most comfortable place I feel like actually sharing this part. It wasn't that I was keeping anything from anybody in my stories, but I've always kept out this one little part because I don't want to cause commotion. I don't want to cause anything, but I feel like I'm gonna share it here. I think you're going to give me the guts to share it here.
Let's do it.
So,
let's do it.
It was a Sunday morning and I was pregnant, very pregnant, like 7 months pregnant with baby number 3. After all this happened, Sunday morning, pregnant with baby number 3. We were late for church. I always say every time I share this story, I always say we were late. We were late for an event or an appointment because I don't want to bring this part in, but I feel comfortable enough to do that here. We were late for church. And so we stopped we're in Canada. So I said to my husband, look, I don't have time to feed them. Can we just stop at Tim Hortons and grab them something to eat? And he was like, yeah, sure. No problem. So we stop at Tim Hortons. I go in, my debit card doesn't work. My credit cards don't work. I can't buy anything. So I walk out into the car and I'm like holding in my tears. And I'm like, I get in and I'm like, so none of the cards are working. And he goes, well, let me see if I have any change. So he pulls out and he had a loonie and a toonie. So he had $3, right? A $2 coin and a $1 coin. $2. Yeah. $3. He goes, this is all we got. I go, like, that's all we have. He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So I went in and I was able to get them an apple juice to split and a muffin to split. I remember getting back in the car and I thought, what have we done? Like, what have we done? How did this happen? Where did we go wrong? We're bookkeepers. We should know this stuff. We should know this. Like, we take care of we don't take care of people's money. We process their bookkeeping. But for how long we've been doing it, you'd think that we would know. We had no clue. We didn't know how to operate money because our parents never told us. We never knew and understand how to keep a calendar of our payments that are due or money that's coming in. We didn't know about saving for retirement. The one thing we did right is we did put away for our children's schooling. So we have a registered education plan, and that thing's taken off. We've done that since the first day Nate was born over 21 years ago. That's the one thing we did right. Okay. That was the one thing we did right, because my son, his entire schooling is completely paid for at Western University. He wants to become a chiropractor. That takes money. Guess what? I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about it. And it's the same for all four. We have 4 boys now. The same for all of them. We did that one thing right. There were times when we thought about pulling that money. We never did. But there were times back then that we thought maybe we should pull that money because that's all we had. Like, but if you pull it, there's fees and blah, 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 blah. So we didn't pull it. So anyways, I remember being in the car and I was crying. He started to cry. The boys were like, what's wrong? What's wrong? We're like, it's okay. We're just having a sad moment. And I remember looking at my husband and I'm like, I don't get it. And Roger looked at me and he goes, I believe God is real. I said, okay. He said, but I don't ever think he ever intended any of his children to live this way. And he's like, if we were actually being taught what we were truly meant to be taught in the church, maybe this would have never happened. We still went to church, just so you know. I think we still went to the church. I think we still went to church. We don't go to church anymore. We have church here. We have church. So people, sorry, I forget. People aren't watching. We have church in our heart. We have church in our minds. We have church in our energy. Whatever we believe I don't really fully believe that matters. Believe in yourself, believe in whatever entity or higher power that you believe in. Whatever you believe is true for you. But what we knew was what we believed was no longer true for us. And that's when we decided to get our shit together. And it was interesting because we had this one client come over and she was a jewelry maker. And she came over one day and she was playing with our little puppy. And she's like, how are you guys doing? She wasn't well off. Like she wasn't well off. She wasn't like, oh, I've got millions of dollars. Let me teach you. It was not that kind of mentorship, guys. But she was sitting there playing with the dog on the floor and she said, how are you guys doing? And I'm like, oh, we're great. We're great. The high pitched, we're great. What are you talking about? Kind of vibes. And so she was like, we never told her anything, but there was a part where she said, hey, have you ever heard of the movie The Secret? We were like, no. She's like, oh, it's talking about the law of attraction. I'm like, oh, that's got to be from the devil. That was the thought that went through my head, right? Mm-hmm. And so whatever you believe is true for you. But it's interesting because when we actually study the laws of the world, the law of attraction, reaping what you sow, the law of gravity, like the law of lift, they're laws. They are energetic, truth, physical laws. And so we watched The Secret and we were like, oh, that's really interesting. And then my husband, RH, he is one of those, like, let me research everything to the 59th degree to the power of 7 before we do anything. And I love it. Like, I'm waiting for him to like, I'm not going to say the word approve, but approve. I want a walking pad for my office, like a treadmill walking pad. He's researching them. So I'm like, okay, let me know what else you need me to tell you. And then, so he's researching them. I love it because I don't have to think about this. I don't have to do anything. I just, hey, out here. So he went in and researched like all of the names in the movie The Secret, not just the people who spoke like Bob Proctor, but also the names like Neville Goddard and Napoleon Hill. And he started researching all of them. And then that's when we came into the understanding that, like, literally where we were in our life being $3 from bankruptcy was because of decisions we chose that created residue we currently live in. And that's where it all started changing. It started changing to be like, instead of sitting here waiting for life to happen for me and waiting for money to drop in my lap, I need to take action. I need to step forward. I need to figure out what's going wrong. And the energies and the powers and the higher powers that be are going to stand beside me and support that. I now call it my higher self. I do believe I have a higher self. There's a Lou that's way further in life than I am. And she comes back and she reports to me all the time. That's the vibe. That's the vibe of where I live now. Okay. And so, we started understanding like the law of attraction, the law of like karma, reaping and sowing, Parkinson's law, my apologies, Parkinson's law, and like really figuring out what it was that created where we were, but how to prevent it to move forward. And so we did a lot of energetic work. We did a lot of brainwashing to get ourselves to a space of understanding how this world really works, how the energies really work, how does manifesting really work. And like, I have manifesting stories galore. I always forget to share them, but like, even to the point of manifesting, like we needed a little squirt bottle. Roger wanted this little squirt bottle for something. And he was like, I don't even know where to get that. I'm like, I don't know if it's meant to be. I guess it will show up. Like that was kind of the vibe way back then. And then one of these ladies that I knew showed up and gave me like a little cleaning sample for my house. And inside the cleaning sample was the little squirt bottle. We were like, wait a minute, if we can manifest a squirt bottle, what else can we do here? And that's where everything just started turning. And so I really believe the rising part came from taking complete and honest look at our lives and accepting that we were the problem. We were the problem. We were to blame. Are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so you can leave that in there because I wanted to ask. We fucked up. We didn't know. And a lot of times, all of that comes from a place of a lack of knowledge. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you don't know. I think it's so cute that on social, people do the, what is it? Like, if you know, like the IYKYK. And I'm like, it should be like, if you don't know, you don't know. So I'm going to actually do one that says IDYKYK because like everybody thinks it's like funny and cute online. But to be honest with you, it's fucking people up.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know. So go figure out and find out what you know, what you need to know. Mm-hmm. Right. And so for me, it was like, okay, I need to figure out what's happening with my finances. What's the best thing I can do? Okay, I'm going to get out a calendar. I'm going to write the amounts that come out every single day. Perfect. I'm going to also write the days that I have deposits going in every single day. Okay, cool. Like, that's not difficult. Nobody taught me that, but I sat down and went, how do I do this? Right? But at the same time, if I said to the world, put your hands up if you put your payments and your deposits on calendars, everybody would think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Until you do it. Until you do it. And then you're like, I don't even have to think about my money anymore. And I'm like, that's the point, right? So we started with that. We refinanced. We got out of the credit card debt. And it was the coolest thing because we had this like credit card company come and say, we'll give you 0% interest for 12 months. And I was like, oh, do you know what I could do with that? And I did. I consolidated a whole bunch of credit cards, put it on this like consolidated credit card, 0%. And I paid all of that off. It was like $65,000. I paid it all off in 12 months.
Oh my God.
And the day after I paid it off, I actually hosted a women's conference here in my city for 120 women. And it was like this cool, like energetic, like that part of my life is over. This is now what we're doing. And it was really the first time I really spoke in person. So it was really neat. Like, it's just, you look at how everything works. What I will also say, though, is I chose to understand my worth in the businesses of the people I was helping. Because when I started my bookkeeping business way, way back in 1997, I was making like $15 an hour. And then in 2007, when this all was going down, we had the other baby, all this stuff was changing. I was like, we're still charging like $25 an hour. We shouldn't be charging this. And we upped it to like $35 an hour. And majority of the clients stayed. And it was like, holy cow, we just increased our income by 30% by just charging everybody a little bit more. And everybody was okay with it because only a couple hundred, like $20, $30, $40, $50 a month. Like, it wasn't a ton for them, but big for us. And so then it came down to, if we want to go masculine and feminine energy, the masculine was building my blueprint for my business. And I've been using this blueprint since 2007. Okay. So that is like 16 years I've been using this blueprint. Well, in 2023, I decided the world needed the blueprint, and now the business money blueprint is a thing. And I'm sure, Steph, you'll give a link that you have for you. But like $37, you learn everything that took me so long to figure out, but completely changed the trajectory of my business, which then changed the trajectory of my personal finance. Because after doing the business money blueprint and figuring that out and having that working, I then created the piggy bank plan, which I still do live now. I have a whole training on the piggy bank plan, which is the personal finance aspect. So business, we start with the business money blueprint. There's so much to do in business, but then personal. Because the one thing I found was every time I could see the money, I'd spend it.
Yeah.
If I could see the money, if I could touch the money, if I could transfer the money, I would spend it. Mm-hmm. And so I decided I would get a piggy bank, and I'd put a percentage of the take-home money from our business. I'd put a percentage of it in the piggy bank, and then I wouldn't touch it all year. Right. And it was a habitual training. As much as people are like, oh, you put the money in the piggy bank, it's not making you interest. No, it's doing something better. It's teaching me a new habit that I don't need to physically see or touch or play with all of my money, and that my money can be away from me where I can't see it, and it's safe and it's okay. Mm-hmm. Right. So the piggy bank plan, there's a whole piece to it, but the piggy bank plan created me such a strong habit in realizing just because I have it doesn't mean I have to spend it. Just because I have it doesn't mean I have to keep it in one account. And so going through these two systems, and really then that's the masculine side. From the feminine energy side, really beginning to believe in myself, beginning to create space to forgive myself. Mm-hmm. Creating a place that is safe, an environment that was safe for not just like me and my family, and from a financial perspective, I needed to actually create a relationship with my money. Mm-hmm. So I learned everything in this world is energy, and everything holds energy, and things that are like, I'm going to call it like stagnant. They don't actually have a heartbeat or energy like per se flowing through them. They do have energy, but they mirror your energy. So if you feel anxious and frustrated and scared and stressed with your money, that's how your money feels. And that's where your money operates out of. So I had to learn to like literally date my money, build a relationship with my money, nurture my money. The best way I did that was falling in love with the minions from Despicable Me. When I realized I was the sexy ass guru that had all of these minions that just wanted to be loved, just wanted to be told what to do, just wanted to be sent on assignment to bring something back to its owner, to its leader, and to be fed bananas. I was like, wait a minute, what if I looked at my money like minions? What if I gave every minion $1 a job? What if every minion brought me back a return on my investment? So even like the investment in your groceries, mm-hmm. right? Being at the grocery store, being grateful and saying thank you to your dollars for being able to buy you groceries. But the ROI on it is you get to cook at home, you get to fill the bellies of your family, and you get choice, and you get to choose what you want to eat. And I don't have to go out and like pick vegetables out of a garden. I wish I had a garden. I know there's a lot of people who have gardens. I love that. But the fact that I can literally go to the store and like buy stuff, mm-hmm. like with money, that's incredible. So like not only did I strengthen my relationship with money, and I saw myself as sexy ass guru, and I looked at as minions, like to the point where I went and bought minions and put them all over my house, all over my office, to keep the memory, to keep the reminder. Another thing we actually did is we took $5 bills and we put them all over the house. Like I hung them, I put it like in a mirror. I put it on the edge of the mirror, or I put it on top of like a light switch, because I had to get used to money just being everywhere. See, Roger came from a space of poverty. His family did go through bankruptcy. I came from a place of abundance that every time I put my hand out, my palm was greased by my parents. When we got married, I tended to take his persona of money on because my way now felt hard because I didn't have parents slipping me money. Yeah. But when I realized the energy of the world is like the parents greasing your palm, and all you have to do is ask and show up and take action, shit happens. Money comes. And so understanding that, building this strong relationship with my money as they were minions, putting money around the house so that it was just like, oh yeah, there's money. Oh yeah, there's money. Like if I walk in my office right now, there's $1,500 just sitting on a bookshelf. I got to put in my bank, my piggy bank. It's got to go in Gus, but it's just sitting there. And it's not like, oh, the money's sitting there. What's going to happen to it? Oh, the money's sitting there. Is someone going to steal it? Oh, the money's sitting there. I have to spend it. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There's money sitting over there. I got to deal with that tomorrow. Becoming so natural with money and excited about money. That's the piece. And so fast forward I would say like doing this system for about 5 years or so, our $3 from bankruptcy became $1 million net worth. Using the blueprint and the piggy bank plan, we were able to create a net worth. So let me explain in case people don't understand. A net worth is what you own less what you owe. So if you have $1.5 million in assets, that if you sold all of your assets and made them all into cash, and you had $500,000 in debt, right? 1.5 in cash, pay off all that debt of 500, your net worth is $1 million. So when you look at net worth, you look at all the assets you own, including like insurance policies. Those are assets people forget about. If you sold all your assets and paid off all of your liabilities or all your debt, how much do you have left over? That's net worth. Okay. So now we sit here. That was about, I don't even know. I can't even tell you, 6, 7, 8 years ago, maybe. Now we sit here and I ran my net worth in July. My corporate year end is in June. So I always do like fun stuff. I think it's fun. Masculine energy stuff in July for my businesses. And this July of 2023, we're at $5.5 million in asset. Sorry, that's not right. $5.5 million in net worth. So if I sold all my assets, paid off my liabilities or my debt, I'd have $5.5 million in the bank.
That's amazing.
So this Phoenix has fucking rose, let me tell you. And November 20. So, and I will also tell you this, from a business standpoint, 2020, like, let's not talk about 2020, 2021, because it's just not cool for anybody. That was really hard times. Except for I will say during the pandemic with the systems I have and profit first, because I am a certified profit first professional. You're like, what's that? Go get the book. That's what I'll tell your listeners. Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. Learn how to drive profit in your business. Create a company that will stack cash on your behalf. That's what I do. But between my strategies during the pandemic, when our clients could not pay it, most of them were closed. Who wants to do bookkeeping when you have nothing? We still stacked over $100,000 in cash in our company with the strategies that I know what to do with all the stuff, right? So after COVID, we hit about 30K months. October 2021 was a 60K month because now I actually come out and say, hey guys, I'm actually coaching. I've been a business coach since 2010. Money, I wanted to wait until I hit the $1 million mark in net because I wanted it. I'm sorry. If you're going to teach money, you better have net worth. So if you want to go and learn from a money coach and they're like, sure, you can work for me, ask them what their net worth is and see what they come back with. I don't care how much money you sell. I don't care how much money you make by selling is what I mean. I want to know your bottom lines. I want to know your after-tax dollars. I want to know your net worth. But what I was going to say to you is October 2021, I decided to go into full hardcore money coaching. That month we made $60,000 cash between all of our streams because I also now have 14 streams of income. Diversify. Really important. So I have 14 different streams of income, but that 60K was hard earned freaking, I call it finger dancing. I actually had to do all the typing and all the work. I looked at my husband and I said, I don't care how much I get. I never want to live a month like that ever again in my entire life. Never again will I ever live like that again. It was so much work and I burnt myself out. So we slowed it down. And in the end of 2021 into 2022, we were making $40,000 months. And then about 7 months ago, we hit $50,000 months. And we've been hanging out there for a while. November 2023, we had our first $100,000 month. And at that point I went, what did I learn? How did I do this? What am I like now I'm dissecting so I can do it again and teach it. And so when you look at the pregnant woman in 2006 who was holding $3 in her hand to the woman that's here now with a $5.5 million worth with $100K month in her record books. By the way, in case anybody's wondering, we kept $52,000 of that money in the company. Just want to put that there. We didn't make 100 and spend 100 because that means you're broke. We made 100 and there's 52K still in the company. I think there might even be a little bit more than that, but just to kind of give you a vibe of what that looks like. So that's my Phoenix Rising story, but I do believe, I don't feel like I'm like an adult Phoenix yet. I feel like I'm still I still feel like a baby Phoenix in a way, even though I've come so far. I still feel like I'm growing my feathers. I still feel like my beak is a little itchy. And I don't know if I've actually like flown from the nest yet. Meaning I've come so far because I feel like the birthing process, like the creation of the Phoenix Rising, that whole process is so in depth and so huge and energetic that I feel like I'm an adolescent Phoenix. Maybe that's it. And I haven't flown yet. And people are like, well, look how much you've done. I'm like, you've seen nothing yet. I haven't even spread my wings.
Buckle up.
And that's
getting crazy.
And that scares the fuck out of me to think what could be like, what's next? How much bigger? What does this look like? Because the dreams and the desires and the aspirations I have are just so big. I am all about serving the community, always over delivering, and my integrity is everything. And in the midst of all this, I just want to fucking play. I just want to play. I just want to have fun. I just want to play. People look at my pricing for my coaching and mentorship and my trainings, and they're all like, you're nuts that you only charge that. And I'm like, yes, go think I'm nuts. Because, and I said this in a mastermind and one of my clients grabbed it and made it into a graphic. And I was like, I said that? She's like, you totally said it. And I said, I'm not saying my way's for everyone, but my way fucking works. That's the quote of 2023 for Lou. And so at that point, I'm like, my shit does work. This stuff works. This stuff works. So yeah, that's kind of like, that's where I'll leave it for you.
I love this. And like when I first, came across you was the Business Money Blueprint. And at the time I was paying so much money for business mentorship. And every time I asked about money, it was like, oh, no, that doesn't matter. No, just think good thoughts. And if you're not thinking good enough thoughts, it's because you don't have any feminine energy. And I was like, no, I need help. Like I need help with money. And they were like, no, it doesn't matter. So I felt like the biggest failure in the world. I was like, I'm the only person in the world who pays for so much business coaching. And I wasn't getting coached and I wasn't doing well. I had a couple of flukes. It went pretty good. And then it absolutely shit the bed. And then I felt like it was all my fault. And I came from, like the entire time I was married, we were paycheck to paycheck, like every month. Like I never knew stability. Neither of us knew a thing about money. We bought a house and then we just wung it. We were living like not just paycheck to paycheck, but like overdraft max to overdraft max. Like it was horrible. And I felt like such an idiot. And then I took the Business Blueprint. I was like, $37. This probably won't like be anything. And it was like the best money I've ever spent in my entire life. And seriously, after the first call, Lou, I literally sobbed. I just sat there and I cried. And I thought, this is what I've been needing. Like I could have saved myself fucking a year and a half and 40 grand if I could have just done this. And then I had to just be really, really like so ruthless. And like, I took my calendar here. I brought it along. I use purple and green because red seems really aggressive to me. So I do purple
That's
instead.
Exactly right. I'll tell you something. In the financial world, red is negative. Like we write the negative numbers in red. So I love that you said that, because 100% the energetic behind red in finances is not pretty.
Yeah. So I literally, and I used to hide it, and now I have it beside my desk where I can see it because I'm not afraid of it anymore. And it seems like such a small thing, but literally everyone I know is like struggling with money and doesn't know what to do. And they feel so much shame about it. And then you like, when you're hanging out with people, you like kind of joke about how it's impossible to make a living, but nobody actually says, well, how do we make a living? Like nobody sits down and says, well, what is the solution? Everyone's just struggling and hiding behind closed doors, crying about how horrible it is and how much shame they feel. And nobody's fixing it. And now I feel like, oh my God, like I have a plan. Like I have a plan. And like for the very first time, I did my money date this morning, like you teach. And I have enough money in my operating account that I literally looked at it instead of being like, what can I spend this on? Or there isn't enough. I thought, how can I use this money to grow my business? That was the first time I've ever done that, Lou. And I was like, oh my God, I grew up. And I also opened up my little kitty cat piggy bank this morning, and I have a stack of fucking cash for Christmas. And I'm just going to go to some local places and make it rain that cash. And I'm done with Christmas. And I'm like shouting this shit from the rooftops because I've never felt like this. Like literally January of this year, I laid on my bed and I had a horrible thought of, I would rather do terrible things and end this than disappoint someone who isn't actually supporting me by missing a payment. And that is the lowest thing. Cause I was like, I went through the fire already. Like I destroyed my family to be who I am. And now I'm like back here relying on somebody who doesn't care about me, all because of money. And I felt so broken. And then I met you. And you like legit changed my life. And then I did the first thing, and I have a fucking account with profit in it, in my business.
Yes, like, you do.
I feel so bougie every time I open up my bank account because it's literally labeled profit. Like the bank lady was like, oh, what's this? I'm like, oh, it's profit. She's like, oh, you're profit? I was like, yeah, you want to look at it? Let's look at it together. I have fucking profit.
It's orgasmic.
It is.
Like, that's the whole point. I want people to go from fear, stress, discomfort, failure. I know people have wanted to commit suicide over their numbers. I want you to go from that to like, this is hot. This is sexy. Like, this makes me wet. Like, this is orgasmic. This is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way it's done. This is the way it's like, oh, we're friends. We're friends. We're so like, money is friendly. Like money is exciting. As we're talking, I just wanted to message my assistant, let her know where we're at in this whole thing that we're doing right now. And someone I don't know just went and bought the Business Money Blueprint as we're talking. And I'm like, someone's just about to change their lives. Oh my God. Because to me, it's not about the money. Like I have learned in business that the exchange of money is an energetic exchange for the person who's doing the exchange. I'm simply the receiver of delivering the goods. But the money exchange is between that person and their future self. And I get to reap the benefits of holding that exchange for them. If I was really out to get the money, Business Blueprint would not be $37. No. I want to change the world. I want to change the world. I want it to be a thing. I want it to be big. I want it to be beautiful. I want people to be excited about their money, because the moment that we stop focusing on what money we don't have and how it's going to come and how am I going to pay bills, the moment we can stop focusing on all of that is the moment that our lives change, our businesses change, our bank accounts change. Because when you're thinking about everything you don't have, you're actually manifesting more of what you don't have, because what you think about comes about. So people always say to me, Lou, I'm trying to manifest money, but it's not showing up. I'm like, what words are you using? Oh, I'm manifesting $1,500. I need $1,500. I want $1,500. I want what I don't have. It's like, no, that like you're just calling more of, and it's the energy and emotions you have with it. So if you're calling forth manifestation through that type of energy, you're calling from lack. So all you're going to do is create more lack. when we can just kind of go, hey, money, you're hot, you're sexy, do my money date. Yep, now I see where I'm at. Ooh, kind of went left there. How do we fix that? Oh, we're going to do a little bit of math here. We're going to move this here. Okay, great. Maybe I need a cash injection. Maybe I do need to sell something to get a cash injection. We know. But once we know, I go, great, perfect, thank you. Now I can go on the rest of my life. Like, I want you to think about it, Stephanie, before the blueprint, how often do you think about the money you don't have and the stress?
17 times an hour.
And now?
Like never. Not never, way less. I have, like, I know when I'm going to talk about it and when I'm like with myself, because I'm the only person in my business, but like, it takes that weight off. It's like knowing you have therapy. You can just like put it there and come back to it. And then it frees up so much other time for like fun things. You know, and like now I get to teach my kids it. Like, we're saving up for a trip, and John, he's like grilling me. John's like he's like all about the numbers. He's like, so what percentage of because I explained to him the profit first thing. He's like, interesting. So like, what if you don't have enough money? He had like so many questions, and I was like, hold on, I got to ask you because I don't actually know this particular question. But now he's like, so what percentage are we going to put into the thing? And I was like, I don't know, like, let's talk about it. Let's figure out how much we would need. And I'm like talking to my kids about money. And I'm not, every time they used to ask for something, I would say, I'm not making money. And I would scream at them. And I get so defensive and so full of shame because I would be like, I'm not making enough. And you asking for something is showing how bad of a mother I am. And now I'm like, I don't know, let's figure it out.
Ooh.
Right?
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I felt, especially because I felt it extra because I was like, I did this. I said, I want to be on my own. And then I had to fucking prove that I could do it. And I was so scared because I was like, what if I can't? What if I ask for a divorce and then I can't make it on my own? What am I going to do? I can't go running back. He'd tell me to fuck myself. I mean, he wouldn't. He's so amazing. But you know what I mean? Like,
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
But like, I have this extra weight of like, if I can't make this money on my own and be a boss bitch all on my own, then what does that say about the life choices I've made? Like, was it worth it? And it was so scary. And now I can just say, hey, I don't know. Like, let's look at this. And then Natalie was like, well, I don't really like hot lunch. It's like a little fundraiser for the school. We buy like pizza or whatever. She's like, can we take my money from that and put it towards our trip? I was like, yes, we can. So she's not getting pizza. And I'm like, we're just figuring it out together. And like, this is how they can learn.
Yeah. Yeah. In 2024, I'm going to do a program on kids and money. It's coming. It's been brewing for a while. And I have a big project I want to launch maybe at the end of 2024. I don't want to talk too much about it, but as much as my heart is in business money, like money in the businesses, and it always will be, and I'll always be there to support and do the thing. There's the mama's heart. Mm-hmm. And I really want to teach parents how to teach their children. But I also want to teach the children directly. So it'll be interesting to see what, honestly, 2025 holds. Like, that's how far ahead we're thinking. I'm thinking 2025, 2026 already. And it's the end of 2023. And so there's some really cool things coming. But the whole point is like, when we so are we an ostrich or are we an eagle? I love this analogy. It was delivered to me through higher power, through the energy, through the pipeline, as Lou calls it in her programs. Yeah. And when Lou talks in third person, it's usually the higher self coming through. I didn't realize I did this until recently. People are like, oh my God, we love when you talk in third person. And I was like, I do that. And I went back and listened to a training when I was saying Lou is this and Lou does this. Yeah, that was not me. Like, it's coming through me, but it wasn't me. And I was like, holy crap, when the whole higher self comes through, it literally like talks as if I'm not even in the room. Like, oh, Lou is this and Lou does that. So it's the cutest thing. But there is a part of me that really, really wants to teach the kids, because they are our future generation. And my kids have a shit ton of money. Like, I look at my kids and I'm just like, damn. you actually did what I said you should do. Like my one son runs the piggy bank plan in his own way, take what I do, shift it a bit in his own way. And he came up to me a few months ago. He goes, so I just filled a piggy bank. Do you have another one? So I gave him my little blue one and I gave him that one. He's like, this ain't going to take long. I'm like, then we'll buy you another one. But he's just filling piggy banks full of $5 bills. Like he's a server, so he gets a lot of fives. So he's just decided to put all of his $5 bills inside of a piggy bank. And so in the end, ostrich to eagle, that's what I was going to tell you. So I came back, circle back because the energies want me to tell you this. Most people in this world, in this life, are ostriches. They have their head stuck in the sand with their asses up in the air.
Yeah.
Everybody's kicking their asses as they walk by, literally kicking the ass. And then like, what the hell just happened? Or we're kicking our own ass. We get kicked in the ass. We pull our heads out and go, what the hell just happened there? But my mission in this world for women in business is to take you from an ostrich and transform you into an eagle, where you soar above everything. You soar above the clouds. You soar above your entire forest. You know, the whole forest for the trees, like wording. You soar above that. You're no longer stuck in the forest trying to figure out the shit. You have your wings spread the full six feet, and you are literally soaring above everything. And you're like, I fucking got that. I fucking got that. I got that. Oop, that needs a little bit of help. Let's go swoop down, get that help, and let's soar back up again. Like, at what point do we want to stop being the ostriches who have our heads in the sand, where we are continually being kicked in the ass, whether it's by us or other people or life circumstances? Like, you have to choose to pull your head out of the sand. Yeah. So anybody who feels like I'm not looking at this, I don't want to see it, I'm just going to pretend it's not there, you're an ostrich.
Yeah.
If you're afraid to open your bank account, you're an ostrich. If you're afraid to have bookkeeping done or even look at your bookkeeping, you're an ostrich. I'm standing right there going, when you're ready.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally looking down at you going, when you're ready, I'm here. Because I figured my shit out and now I'm teaching it. And that is something that is not always done in the financial coaching industry. Yeah. It's like each to their own. But when I hear a university has been like, oh, I'm going to university to get a business degree, my first question is, who are the profs? Have they actually owned a business? Why are we going to pay $35,000 for 4 years of university to learn from someone who's actually never had a business?
Yeah.
Like, why are we going to, I think business coaches are great. A lot of my clients are business coaches. I love going to business coaches. I have a few of my own. My business coaches are specifically in different areas of my business. I have a digital product business coach, my membership business coach, my Facebook ads, she's all one. Then I have my personal energy business coach that also helps me with me mentoring my private clients, right? Like people who go to a business coach thinking they're going to get money, financial trainings is not going to happen. They're going to teach you how to sell. They're going to teach you how to post on social. They're going to teach you how to regulate your energy. They're going to help you come up with products, offers, containers. But go to them and say, I got $100,000 this month. What do I do with it? They're going to go, well, I don't know. I know. Lou knows what we're doing with it. I told you, you bring $1 into your business, I know what to do with it. Yeah. And you've proven that. One person that did my Profit First 101, she told me this week that her income, less all of her expenses and paying herself in October, she had $12 left. After doing Profit First 101 with me for 9 days, guys, we did a 9-day thing. It wasn't even a huge thing. It was a quickie. We did 9 days in Profit First for October 2023, she had $12 left over. November 2023, after spending a week with me, after her income and her expenses, she's now at $1,200 bottom line. Like she has $1,200 left over. She's also in my mastermind. That's why I paused. So I'm like, wait, has it been a week? But what she learned in Profit First 101 helped her get this. And she went from $12 in October to $1,285 in November.
Amazing.
And people might go, well, that's not a big number.
Yes, it is.
You 1,000 timed your number. What are you talking about? And I just put a post on my social yesterday that says, just because you made $1 million and spent $1 million, it doesn't make you a millionaire. It makes you broke. Mm-hmm. At what point do we realize it's about what you keep? Yeah. And you can still spend money. I still spend money. I spend, I think, like $6,000 or $7,000 a month on mentorship. I spend like 10%. My goal is my mentorship is no more than 10% of my income. That's like the rule for me. Everybody's different depending on where you're at. I've been in business for 28 years. I mean, if I was making $10,000 a month and I was new, or $5,000 a month and I was new in business, I'd probably have a larger stack to coaching and mentorship if it's with the right coach and the right mentor.
That's the thing. It's got to be the right thing. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing that I realized from when I took the Business Money Blueprint is that I didn't feel like a little shithead. Like every other, right? Like every other coaching training thing I was in, I felt like the little guy who was being chastised for being dumb and not having the right energy, and someday I'll catch up. And with you, I felt the exact opposite. I felt like I can actually do this. And I think the biggest thing is people are like, oh, well, that might work for them, but I'm in a different situation. I can tell you it will work. You have to start though. And that's the scary thing is like, yeah, people are like, oh, well, that wouldn't work for me. Cause like I've said to a couple of people, oh, I started doing profit first. I'm like, oh, must be nice for you. That would never work for my business. I'm like, okay, you're right. If you think it won't work, it won't, but it will.
You know what? I have accountants that think we're baloney the whole, like, oh, profit first. Oh, sale. Because in the accounting world, sales minus expenses, in the business world too, sales minus expenses equals profit. Mm-hmm. Well, what we do in profit first is sales minus profit equals expenses. Yeah. Right. And people are like, whatever. And I'm like, dude, it works. Like, yeah, it just works. This shit that I teach works if you work it. So if someone comes to me and goes, that won't work for me, I say, you're right. Mm-hmm. And I move on. You want to do work, you come into my world, we'll do work. I have people who come into my world and they don't do anything. They just like to sit and listen. And that's totally cool. The people who go, I want to fucking do this. I want to get this done. The Business Money Blueprint, if you do a little bit every single day, it might take you a week. Oh yeah. And it's funny because the one person that she got the Business Money Blueprint out of like she didn't want it. She's like, I don't want to do this. 28 trainings. Oh my God. Like, and I'm like, listen, they're all under 10 minutes. They're not short. Yeah, but this so much work, blah, 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 blah. And then she messaged me. She goes, oh my God, I started the Business Blueprint and I was only going to give myself 20 minutes. She goes, I've been in here for 4 hours. This is so much fun and you're entertaining. And this is just like, how is this even possible that this is work? And I'm like, yes. Yeah, that is everything right there. Yeah. Yeah. So good. So good.
Oh, usually at this point in the podcast, I ask if somebody is in the ashes, what should they do? But I think we've explained that very, very well. And I just want for anybody who's listening who thinks, oh, like, but my thing is worse. Like my situation is worse. It's not. I promise you it's not. Like just take a deep breath, look it in the face. With the help, like you don't have to do it by yourself. Because that's the thing is I used to like sit down with my budgets and look at everything. And then like, I had no idea what I was doing. And I just basically like just wallowed in my own shame and then didn't do anything. And that's not helpful. But this is. So thank you, Lou, for being on the podcast. You are fucking amazing life changer of the world.
I know. No, I'm only kidding. Thank you.
Oh, I mean, I do know. Though. Like, thank you accept so that and run with it. So if everybody wants to find you, I will link. You want them to come to Instagram? Is that you want to go? Yep. Okay.
Always fun.
So the Lou Clarke on Instagram, and I will put the link to the Business Money Blueprint in the show notes and the Instagram. $37. Like, come on, that's cheaper than McDonald's. You can do this.
Yeah, just give up McDonald's for 2 days, or like don't go to Starbucks for 3 days. Like you will have more money for Starbucks at the end of the blueprint than what you started with. Like it's so good. Stephanie, thank you so much for having me. I'm just so honored I get to share with your community. And like the one thing you said is like no one's in a worser place than someone. dude, if you make $1 million and don't have money, or you make $1,000 and don't have money, guess what? You're on the same playing field because you don't have money. Or if you're like, hey, I'm pretty good with my money, but I think it could be better. Everybody could always be better.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm good, I feel great. But what if there's something else you could do? What if you could level up? What if you could rise from more ashes? What if you could rise greater and quicker and faster and go forward further faster in your life and your business because you learned one little tweak? That's where the magic happens.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Okay. Everybody, thank you for listening. Share this fucking episode because everybody needs it. And make sure you come back next week for more amazing guests and Ashes Rising. I love you all dearly, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, I'm Stephanie Rose, and I am the host of the West Rose Media podcast, Lessons from the Ashes. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and on Threads and on TikTok and all the places. My handle is @WestRoseMedia. Check out my website too. There are so many resources for people just like you, people who are climbing out of the ashes, ready to make a new life. I got you, babe. Make sure you follow along. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. That way you never miss an episode.